In today's video session, we are going to see about the pricing process of products. Pricing process. While fixing up a price for any product or service, there are a lot of things which you should take into consideration before fixing up the price. What are all the conditions and what is the process that companies follow to basically price the product or service? Pricing is not a very easy task, not an easy task to perform, because you have to consider factors like your profit margin, the price at which the customers will buy the product, and all this. Just because you need to have a good profit, you cannot price it very high, and if you price it too low, then it will affect your profit margin. So it involves strategic thinking to fix up a price of a product in such a way that it gives you optimized profits at optimized price to the consumer. Basically, the pricing process consists of a series of 6 steps. It's a 6-step process, and it starts from the objective setting till the final pricing which you give. This process considers all the costs involved and the profits which is expected. And while doing the pricing, it's the duty of the marketing team to bring out an efficient plan. Because without plan, a normal pricing strategy is not possible. What are all the steps that is involved in a pricing process? As I already mentioned, it is basically a 6-step process. The first step is defining the pricing objective. And then comes the determination of the demand. And then estimating the costs involved in the product, and then analyzing competitor costs and selecting a pricing strategy and finally selecting the final price. So this is the process involved, right from the pricing objective. Then comes the determination of demand and estimating costs, analyzing competitor costs, selecting a pricing strategy, and finally it ends up in selecting the final pricing. The process put together is called as the pricing process. All companies need to adopt this process in order to fix up efficient pricing for the product. Let us now see each and every step in detail. The first step is pricing objectives. A company has to start with setting up an objective for pricing, for fixing up a particular price. What are those basic objectives? What are those objectives which we are talking about? The objectives may be anything like survival in the market, or it can be maximizing the current profit, maximizing the market share, or maximizing the maximize skimming, and finally maybe the most important thing is product quality leadership, which means the product which is associated with a very good quality and setting up a price as such leadership. These are all the pricing objectives for which a company can fix up a pricing. So when I talk about the pricing objective, the objective needs to be, the objective should be clear and crisp. Any ambiguity will lead to disastrous pricing, which will affect the firm in a large manner. So when I talk about again pricing objectives, the objectives are set by the marketing team, and they need to know different factors like their margin required, and the spending, which we will see in the next topic. Now the next step of pricing is determining the existing demand, determining the demand of the product, for the product. When you talk about this, when a customer buys a product, customer buys only when there is a demand, buys when demand is there. When I talk about this, when I talk about demand as the most important factor in pricing, one thing which you must keep in mind is the identification of objectives should pass on to the demand. I mean, pass on in the sense you have to identify the objectives and match it with the demand which is available in the market, so that your pricing is as crisp as possible. Because each price, if you consider this, each price leads to different demands for the same product line. So determination of demand is generally, the thumb rule is higher the price, lower the demand. But not vice versa. And the best example is the prestige goods, which will enhance your prestige. If everybody wants status as their symbol, then the demand for that product gets high and the pricing also gets high. But when the demand gets very low, the pricing gets very low because of the lack of customers for it. So generally you have to be very sure that customers are less sensitive to higher costs and lower quality. So your demand has to be studied in this particular manner. Now the next step for setting up pricing objective is to estimate the costs involved, estimating the costs involved in the pricing process. For making any product, there is a lot of costs: fixed costs, variable costs, etc., which will add up to give the total cost which is incurred for the product. Demand sets the ceiling on the price the company can charge for this product. Demand sets the ceiling for price, but costs set the floor. This is a popular phrase about costs and the pricing of any product. The cost involved includes cost of production, cost of distribution, cost of marketing campaigns carried out, salaries given to the employees, etc. So when you take all these into consideration, the total cost can be arrived at, and it can help you in setting the price, which will give you a profit margin well above the cost incurred by you. Now the next step in this is selecting a pricing method. You have determined the cost, selection of pricing method. There are a lot of pricing strategies or methods which company follow based on their business and based on their objectives. There are three major pricing methods like cost based pricing, competitor based pricing, these are broad categories of pricing or the narrow ones. Customer based pricing. What is the cost based pricing? Cost based pricing is the pricing in which the price includes the cost of ingredients and running the business. All costs in running the business. Competitor based pricing is a pricing in which you see the competitor cost. You see the competitor cost and comes out with pricing. Competitor cost. In fact, you will see the competitor pricing and you will come out with the pricing methodology for your own company. The customer based pricing is something like the pricing which the consumer is ready to give. What do you mean by that? It is a value based pricing. What is this value based pricing? It depends on the customer demand or need for the product, which means if the product is innovative, then the customer will buy. Customer buys. So it's highly important to make the product innovative to a specific consumer, because a product which is innovative to a specific consumer may not be innovative to another consumer. So when you customize the product, it has to be really innovative to attract the customer to buy the product. The next step in the pricing process is to select the final price. Select the final pricing. Once you do all these steps, you have certain set of pricing strategies table which you recorded, which with all the factors. Now the marketing team analyzes the plan, brings out strategies and comes out with final plan. Final pricing plan. In this phase, even the finance department is involved. Finance department is involved in this. In selecting the final pricing. The final pricing should be such a way that it gives you more profitability than total costs, above the total cost, which means profit margin has to be considered. So it requires good amount of work to devise a final pricing for this. I think with this you would have had a little bit of knowledge about the pricing process. We will let you know about the different types of pricing strategies in detail in our video session, which will be coming in the forthcoming sessions. Till then, goodbye. Have a nice day.